Hello, my name is Dennis Demuth. Let me welcome you to this presentation on how to double your child's grades. If you are a parent or a teacher who is concerned about the academic performance of your children or students, this presentation is for you. There is a pathway you can follow that will show you how to double your child's grades. It is a very systematic method that has proven itself as you work the methods we will be presenting. I do not know about you, but when I was in grade school, I had to work very hard at getting good grades. I wish that my parents had known what I am about to share with you. Furthermore, if I would have known this when my wife Carol and I were raising our own son and daughter, they would have been more successful as students. We have shared the concepts you are about to view with countless parents, teachers, and administrators, and the methods work. I have been administrator for 49 years as teacher, school psychologist, principal, superintendent of the schools, and professor in the College of Education at Oral Roberts University. These recommendations you are about to hear really work when they are consistently implemented. The foundation for this presentation is based on the proven work of Eugene Schwartz in his book, How to Double Your Child's Grades in School, and my experience in working with parents, teachers to improve academic performance. One of the most often asked questions of parents during parent conferences is, how can I help my child do better in school? This is especially true when a child is failing in a particular subject and receives one or more Fs. We know that failing grades affect students for life as well as their family. Like the parent who came to the school nurse and said, "I'm suffering from a low-grade infection. Every time I see my son's report card, I get sick." Parents are affected when a son or a daughter does not score high enough on the college entrance test, and as a result, they are not accepted into college. And if accepted, their test scores are so low, the scores prevent the student from receiving significant financial aid, leaving parents having to pay. Since content builds on content, getting good grades starts the first year of school and continues throughout the child's educational life. Consider the following 6 effects of low grades. First, research shows that low grades affect self-image and self-confidence. When low grades are received, students see themselves as failures and they lack the confidence in pursuing their goals. For example, if a high school student wants to be a lawyer, they need to score high on the verbal part of the college entrance tests. Engineers must score high in math and doctors high in sciences. So often when students see the low grades they earn in high school and on these college tests, they give up on any chances of going on to college. They may even avoid the application process altogether. Self-confidence is dampened when students work hard and study but still come out with a low grade point average. Secondly, grades are affected. The grades also affect the type of courses taken. For example, a student must get at least an average grade in Algebra 1 before they can take Algebra 2. Although a student may receive a full ride scholarship, if they only score a C in high school Spanish, they may be required to retake Spanish at college. There is nothing more disappointing in college than having to retake high school level courses. Thirdly, continuing education is based on grades received. Low grades affect the type of college program a student will be allowed to enter. For example, being admitted to a nursing program may require a certain GPA in science courses. Number 4, grades affect subsequent courses. Even when students see the low grades they earn, they do not realize that effort and commitment, the amount of effort and commitment it will take to improve their grades. A 0 on one assignment and 100% on a second assignment averages to 50% and is still a failing grade. Once students start getting behind, the pathway to success gets steeper and more difficult to climb. This leads to discouragement, which causes a continued decrease in later success. As a result, they often feel that low grades are indicative of who they are, a failure. They know that the F will always be on their transcript, and they feel that the F will hinder the college admissions process. Number 5, low grades affect educational and vocational goals. Failing grades affect whether the student can stay in school, especially if they attend a private school with strong academic standards. Failing grades affect the education and the vocational goal of the student. Finally, 6, low grades influence employment opportunities. When I was employing English teachers to work in our school, I always looked at their transcripts, especially grades they earned in English. If they earned less than a B, they might as well forget about employment. Furthermore, if I could not read their handwriting, how could they ever hold my students accountable to high standards in writing? Eventually, grades predetermine the type of education and employment the student can go into. I worked with a student who graduated from high school and wanted to go into the military, but could not even pass the military entrance test. It was devastating to him. Eventually, he gave up on his dream and struggled to find a good-paying job. Ultimately, failing grades affect the student's self-image and later relationships with the rest of society. A failing grade affects every turning point in one's career. On the other hand, a child, your child, or your students will reap a fortune from the priceless ability to absorb facts, master facts, and put facts to use. The sooner a parent or teacher can help a student achieve at a higher level and be successful, the results of a failing grade can be diminished. It is never too late to turn around a failing situation. Years ago, the general notion was poor grades affected either a poor attitude, a weak mind, intelligence, or lack of scholastic ability. Today, we realize that there is more to it than these. Students who have performed poorly in school can get good grades. Would you believe it if I said it's not hard for students to get good grades? Eugene Schwartz made this statement: given average ability, students who do not achieve at a successful level do so because no one has ever taught them to study effectively. In a survey we conducted of middle school students, we asked students to identify what they could do to improve their academic performance. The number one request was for help from the teachers on how to do a better job at studying and test taking. When teachers were asked the same question of what students needed to do to get better grades, the number one area listed by the teachers was for students to pay more attention in class. The assumption made by the teachers was that paying greater attention in class will lead to greater achievement. However, for the students, learning how to study and to take tests were more important in getting better grades. Grades are important. Students see good grades as actual tangible evidence of their accomplishment. Unfortunately, grades rather than learning have become the goal of students. In fact, getting good grades has become more important than learning. As a result, there is a steady increase in the number of students cheating. Research about cheating among middle school children ages 12 through 14 has shown that there is increased motivation to cheat because there is more emphasis being placed on grades. Even those students who say it is wrong to cheat, if the goal is to get a good grade, they will cheat. According to one recent survey of middle schoolers, 2/3 of the respondents reported cheating on exams, while 9 out of 10 reported copying another's homework. Furthermore, an exclusive ABC News primetime poll in April of 2017 of 12 through 17-year-olds, 7 in 10 say at least some kids in their school cheat on tests. 6 in 10 have friends who have cheated. About 1 in 3 say they themselves have cheated, and this rises to 43% as the teens get older. And most say cheaters don't get caught. There's actually more interest in knowing how to cheat and not get caught than on positive learning attitudes and habits. In the ABC News poll, a third of the kids say they'd be more likely to cheat if they knew they would never get caught. Unfortunately, cheating continues into college and then on to employment in the form of resume fraud. Students do not like it when they make mistakes. They do not get much joy out of not knowing or understanding concepts that are being taught. Our task as parents and teachers is to help students understand that in the learning process, there's nothing inherently wrong with making mistakes when they are genuinely trying to grasp a new body of information. If the effort is there, they are to be encouraged as much as possible. On our website, we have an article on using a positive point system, which shows teachers how to reward students for making effort and making corrections. Students can get better grades without resorting to cheating, as you will see shortly. Consider these 4 statements made by Schwartz. First, without proper study techniques, it is perfectly possible for your child to get only half of what he should get out of a lesson. Thus, he learns only half of what is taught. In surveying our students, we found an interesting correlation. There was a 2-to-1 correlation between the amount of time students said they spent on homework and the amount of time parents said the students were doing homework. Students wasted up to 50% of their study time. So what parents saw as study was non-study by students. That's when the parent said, my student studies an average of 50 minutes per night. The child of this very same parent said that they actually only spent 25 minutes studying. Half of the time was wasted. Secondly, without proper retention techniques, it is possible for a student to remember only half of what he has understood. German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus pioneered the experimental study on memory in the late 19th century. He's the one who presented the learning curve, how learning takes place over time. He also described the forgetting curve, which demonstrates how about 70% of all new information is actually lost within 24 hours if we do not make an effort to retain it. Parents and teachers can help in the retention of information through various techniques, such as stating clear objectives, keeping learning sessions short, and linking what is being learned with real-life situations. These techniques will help retention and improve long-term memory and recall. Third, without proper test-taking skills, it is possible for the student to earn only half the grade he or she would otherwise reach. The internet is full of information on improving test-taking techniques. You can also find a number of these on our website at dellpublications.com. For example, we have a number of articles about grading, studying, and homework. These resources are found on our website, dellpublications.com. If you only have time to read one of these articles, we recommend Grandmother's Law. This is a proven law that will work every single time. Finally, without proper intervention and further negligence, the student could struggle through school as half a doer. Schwartz states, your child does not have to be brilliant to succeed either in school or life. The only thing separating an average child from a fruitful scholastic life is direction. So what is direction? It is the ability to get the best results out of his own effort. With proper direction, any child with average aptitude can maintain a superior school average. Take 2 different scenarios. A high school student who is functioning low academically, once he finds direction, he can go from C average to honor roll, while another student who has an A average can actually flunk out. So what is the common element? Direction. Secondly, those students who know how to study get grades far beyond those that might be expected. How? Because they have learned to study through technique. It is not some mysterious hidden talent that enables a few gifted students to solve problems at a glance that others would never be able to understand, no matter how hard they worked on them. The real difference between the top student and the average student lies not in ability, but in technique. The good news is that technique can be taught. Study is a skill, and it can be improved by practice like any other skill. I happened onto a high school student doing a writing exercise, and as I was passing her desk, she looked up at me and I said, "Practice makes perfect." To which she smiled and responded, "Perfect practice makes perfect." She had a good point. Getting good grades is more than just putting in time. It requires good practice. Knowing how to practice is a key ingredient to success. In his book, Schwartz presents several techniques that parents can use to improve their child's grades. Consider the following questions regarding your child. How well does your child study? Now be honest and answer yes or no to the following statements. Your child has trouble finding study materials, yes or no? Takes a long time to get going on homework? Finds it hard to keep his or her mind on what he or she is studying? Has trouble picking out the main points of a lesson he or she is reading? Forgets the next day what he or she has read the night before? Spends fruitless hours trying to figure out standard math problems? Makes the same mistakes over and over? Consistently comes to you to solve his or her homework? Imitates other students' reports and compositions rather than creating his or her own? Forgets vocabulary words almost as fast as he or she learns them? So how many yeses did you record? What about these? Has a notebook that's a mess of illegible scribbles and torn up pages. Never finishes his or her work on time. Crams desperately for tests, and becomes sick or fearful before tests. How many of these 14 questions did you answer with yes? If you answered 4 or more with S, then your child may be having his or her grades lowered by as much as 25% due to poor study habits. A real difference between the top students and the average student lies not in ability, but in technique. And technique can be taught. Study is a skill, and it can be improved by practice like any other skill. In the time that we have, we would like to share 4 actions to help you improve your child or student's grades. Your first action is to help your child get organized. Organization is nothing more than planned direction. Now, based on our surveys, a typical student wastes 50% of his study time both at home and at school. So helping them get organized actually reduces wasted time. There are several steps you can take to help them get organized. First, set up a daily studying schedule. Same time and place. And make sure you and your student stick to it. Consider no less than 1 hour per day with 5 minutes devoted to recitation. Next, identify a specific place for study. If he does not have a place of his own, then he must be given the exclusive use of one room for that hour. Make it his place, one that is comfortable and bright with items he needs to read and write permanently stored there, instantly at hand when he wants to use them. You would be amazed at how much time is lost looking for a pencil. There must be no distractions for this entire hour. When he gets down to work, he stays at work till he is finished. Next, have all the materials ready for study at the start of the study. No unnecessary books, newspapers, pictures. Study is business, all business. Then start on time. Set up a routine. Establish a consistent daily readiness to study. Work towards an automatic ability to concentrate that can only come from getting down to work at the same time in the same spot every single day. Next, manage any computer usage. It's very easy for students to do other things on their computers rather than what is related to the areas of study. So you must monitor this closely. The key is to find out exactly what must be accomplished. You can do this by requiring an assignment notebook to be kept on each class or subject. For elementary students, this should be checked by the teachers prior to the student leaving for home at the end of the day. And there are a number of assignment notebooks that can be bought if the school does not have or offer one, and you can also make your own study guide. Although we prefer a paper assignment type of notebook, some school districts offer electronic assignments online. Parents can access the assignment online, know what and when an assignment is due, and when tests and quizzes will be. The second action is to conduct a daily achievement checkup. The 4 building blocks to good grades are reading, understanding, remembering, and reproducing the material studied in his own words and thoughts. So consider each of these building blocks as you conduct your daily achievement checkup. With these building blocks in mind, you can create a 7-point achievement checkup. Use the checklist every day. It should take no more than 5 minutes of full concentration on your child's work. Use a chart to get you going. For example, the first item is for you to examine the work. Look over each piece of work, and then place a check mark or a star in the square for each day that the work is inspected. As you examine the work, check for misspelled words. The check mark or the star means that it was checked and corrections were made. Add these other items to your checklist. Question what is not clear to you and have him or her explain it to you until you are sure that he or she understands it. Hear his memory work. This may be math or spelling. Then check his written work for neatness and cleanness only. Check his assignment book to see that he has completed all his homework. And now check the work he has received back from the teacher. If it has errors on it, ask him to rework the problems or to look up the answers until he comes up with the correct answer. Then go over each step in the exact same order each day. At first, it may take a little bit more than 5 minutes, but soon your child will know what is expected of him and what you need to do, and the time will be diminished. Now that you are helping your child get organized and conducting a daily achievement checkup, there are 2 other actions to consider. First, help your child visualize success. Research has shown the fact that teachers and parents who set and communicate high expectations obtain greater academic performance compared to those who set low expectations. Teachers and parents need to inspire their students and their children to expect to do better. However, be careful, because excessive parental pressure placed on a child can produce negative side effects. When parents do not recognize that their child is exerting maximum effort for a C, discouragement prevails in the child's spirit and his motivation consequently drops. It is up to the parent and the teacher to redirect the words the student speaks so that he or she can visualize success. So why is this important? Because students do and become what they say. They need to help correct their thinking, and you can do this by helping them visualize success. For example, when they say, "I can't," you say, Do you mean you can't or won't? When they say, I've done everything that I could, you ask everything? What about this? When they say, I've tried that, but it won't work, you ask, did you really try? How many times? How consistently did you try? When they say, I did my best, you respond, are you sure? When they say, I could never understand or do that, you add, never is a very long time, really. How long do you suppose it might take to learn? If you think hard enough, you will discover that you have learned to do a number of things that are just as hard. When they say, that's impossible, you say, what you mean, of course, is that it is only difficult. When they say, that's too difficult, you say, what you mean is that you need more time. When they say, it'll never work, you say, it always works if you work it. Try again. If they say, everyone's against me, you say, no, you are wrong. I'm for you. Using these responses will help your child visualize success and take away excuses. These first three actions involve recitation and discussion. This last one is very simple. Maximize success with specific praise. You should always include praise in your achievement checkup. Praise makes winners. It is encouragement, not criticism, that builds success. Always remember not only to implant skill in your child, but self-confidence as well. Self-confidence comes from one source, admiration and praise. Accomplishment must be rewarded. Also be specific about your praise. Do not just say, good job. Attach the praise to the product. Say, this is good work because it reflects neatness and good thought. Consider these. Great job on your homework. I like the way you wrote complete sentences. Susie, you solved the problem. You applied several math principles. Great thinking. You listed all of the important points. This is a wonderful attempt at a difficult problem. You found all 4 steps in solving it. Good grade on your test. This shows that you must really be paying attention in class. For a student, getting an A is like receiving a raise. Every word spelled correctly is like a meal perfectly prepared. Learning the multiplication tables to your child is like learning how to strip down and put together an entire engine or to plan a presidential campaign. The effects are the same, the feeling of accomplishment and success. View success through the eyes of your child. How would you feel if what you are saying to your child was being said to you? There you have it. 4 powerful actions that will help Johnny and Susie improve their grades. Get them organized for work, conduct a 5-minute daily achievement checkup, help them to visualize success, and maximize success with specific praise. For more suggestions on improving your child's grades, see the book recommended in this presentation and visit our website at ardellpublications.com. I trust you have learned something from this presentation. Please take a minute or two, follow the link to our website, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and please share this presentation with others. God bless.